Hi, everybody. This is the start of a new live series on midlife crisis, which is not very well understood. I'm going to answer your questions, your comments from my other videos on midlife crisis and go into spiritual topics that relate to midlife crisis. So don't get scared off if you hear spiritual topics. You can think of it as personal growth or developing yourself or anything that you feel comfortable with. So in case you don't know me, or if this is one of my first videos you've watched, my name is Kira Lescu and I'm the founder of the Eagle Institute, which I started to help leaders with meditation solutions to improve their lives in their e-leadership. From early on, I started having people that were going through a midlife crisis, and I was able to help them make real progress with meditation solutions, mainly because I had a really tough midlife crisis and I had experimented on myself to see which techniques worked, which ones didn't, and which ones worked for what, and how effective and how fast they worked. So let's start with the purpose of a midlife crisis. I would love to hear what you think about midlife crisis or what it is or what's happening. So put it in the comments what you think the purpose of a midlife crisis is. Now, of course, if you've watched my other videos on midlife crisis, you should get that right. But still, I want to hear where you're at in your knowledge on midlife crisis, because knowledge is power. Now, many people feel horrible in a midlife crisis and they just hope it will go away. And I'm sorry, but it just won't. I often talk to people in their 50s and 60s, and even though they don't have the uncertainty of their world being turned upside down anymore, they're still struggling in the area of their life that is affected by their personal midlife crisis. And this area is different for everybody. There are 12 major categories of a midlife crisis and themes, and they're in pairs of opposites. And that's why there isn't a one-size-fits-all in a midlife crisis or even in life for success. Two people facing the same issues may have exact opposite ways to success. Now, the one thing that is true for all the categories or different types or themes for midlife crisis is that you succeed through the path that you are blind to or you don't want to do. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you're going to have things go a lot easier. People that don't accept this spend years wondering why law of attraction and manifesting, or even their working hard, isn't getting them where they want to be. And it's because they aren't willing to heal and develop their blind spots. Life and law of attraction is telling them that to get where they want, they're on the wrong path. This is like wanting to go from New York to Beijing and then buying a one-way plane ticket to Antarctica. You are going the wrong way. And the further you go, the more resources it's going to take to go in the right direction. And you can still get there, but it can be a little harder the farther you go out of your way. So one of the first steps is to come to terms with the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable on this journey, but you can make it easier by healing the areas of your discomfort. And you will find a personal power that you just didn't have before, and you will accomplish more things that you weren't even aware that you wanted. Many people are confused by this. They want success at work, and then they work on their midlife crisis, and they realize that work is actually easy for them. What they really want is abundance and a satisfying family life and close, healthy relationships. So instead of giving up their family life for success, they get success at work by investing in their family life and healing what's necessary in family relationships. Now, some other people actually have the exact opposite. They're completely defined by their family relationships to the point where they aren't being authentic in their gifts. Their happiness and success will come from loosening the family ties and developing their professional skills. There really isn't one way to do this for everybody, but there is only one path for each individual, and that is their perfect personal blind spot. Now, the payoff is going through and erasing and healing their blind spot, which gives you more personal power, a more balanced lifestyle, more happiness, and a greater degree of success. It takes your main obstacle out of your way. So wouldn't it be great to have your greatest obstacle removed? I personally thought so. So that's why I'm helping people do this. Now, one question or comment that I get a lot is about the ages of midlife crisis. And honestly, I wish there was a better name, but it's the one that people commonly understand, so we're going to go with it. Midlife crisis happens because of astrology and not because you're partway through your life. So yes, you can have themes from your midlife crisis happening all the way until you die if you don't deal with it. But it gets activated around the age of 42. And I say around that age because for some people it could be, in their late 30s. For some people it can be as late as 45 when it starts. So in astrology, your south node of the moon is your strengths or your past life karma. Now, this is your default way of doing things. And the north node is your weakness or weaknesses and the thing that you tend to avoid or try to avoid. Now, the north node is the most important part of your astrology chart because it will attract situations, people, and events to your life until you erase the karma that you have there. Now, the north node is active your whole life, but it really gets put under pressure and really charged to be active in your life at around age 42, which is when your Uranus is opposite where it was in your birth chart. Now, Uranus is the planet of rapid change. Its nickname is the Awakener. And because its role is to alert you, it helps you to break free of restrictions in your life. And in the midlife crisis case, this is your south node karma. Now, if you do your midlife crisis healing work, you will feel free and happy and energized. And if you fight it, you will get beat up by constant events that are just honestly designed to wake you up. And this lasts the rest of your life if you fight it or resist it or don't do it. And many people just resign themselves and they give up and they just say, oh, it's always going to be this way for me. I'm never going to have a happy family life and a happy career, or I'm always going to get run over by people, or I'm never going to feel the fulfillment I want. And they just resign themselves to it. It doesn't have to be that way. Now, your natal Uranus is your destiny. The north node and the south node of your moon are your karma. So when Uranus wakes up your destiny, you have to get there through erasing your karma. Your destiny is your highest calling in your life. And honestly, you don't have to do it. But when you do, that's when you feel alive. That's when you feel, oh, this is so good. It's the place where you fulfill your contribution to the greater good. And our society does not value contribution so much as what we are getting out of something. And that's backwards. It's through your contribution, through erasing your karma, that you can receive back the greatest. And people have this backwards. They have the greatest abundance when they're living their destiny in every respect, not just money and lifestyle. And I've heard very rich people joke that their maid has a better life than they do. They work 14 hours a day or more. They travel. They're never home. Their maid works 8 hours a day and lives in their beautiful home. And they joke, who has the better life? Who has the better lifestyle? So if you're in your destiny, you don't have to work that hard to have a beautiful life. The maid has more of an abundance mentality than the rich workaholic. So which would you rather have? A beautiful home, short days, access to beauty, and not have to worry about bills, or always worrying to keep things up, worrying about pleasing others and keeping your job or your business? Well, Uranus will put you in the place where you are on your personal right path. So open your mind up about what abundance is. We are taught to measure success in the Western world by control. So just let that idea go. We're starting to understand this in our share economy. It's more about what you can access. And Uranus is changing what everyone thinks about abundance and structuring our lives right now. So that's all I have for today. Keep your questions coming, and I will do more videos and more live streams to help you erase your karma and deal effectively with your midlife crisis.